Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back at one of my favorite special locations because guess what? We have a car that's making a lot of noise in the auto industry. This is a 2021 Toyota Supra. This one though is new for this model year. This is the Supra 2.0. But before we get into this smaller displacement of a Supra, let's talk about what's going on here. The Toyota Supra has been around since 1979, if you could believe that. It goes all the way back to the Celica Supra. Since then, there's been 5 generations. This is the 5th generation of this iconic car from Toyota. Of course, the most talked about is going to be the generation right before this, the Mark IV series, and a lot of it has to do with the whole Fast and the Furious franchise. But guess what? Since the introduction of this particular vehicle in 2020, there's been a lot of debates, a lot of arm wrestling, and just a lot of fist fighting overall over whether this is a real Supra. Because of that connection with BMW and Toyota, a lot of people say, it's not really a Supra, it's more of a Zupra. I'm happy to say that for the most part, I think we can now all just say, can't we all get along and enjoy what this car is about? Because what it's gonna deliver is a 2-seat sports car experience that's second to none. And for 2021, having the introduction of this smaller engine, the 2.0, they're trying to open up the doors, open up the gateways for more Supra fans to be able to actually park one in their garage and enjoy it on a regular basis. So what I wanna do is I wanna point out the differences between the 2.0 and the 3.0 and how you tell the difference, especially from the outside, but I also want to talk about the upcoming Subaru BRZ for 2022, because I think this is going to be a direct competitor to that vehicle, and most of us have been waiting for a BRZ with more power. Have we been waiting for the wrong car? Is it sitting right here in front of us? So let's go ahead, let's find out, is this the car to get, or should you be waiting for the 2022 Subaru BRZ? Let's find out. Right off the bat, this is my first time seeing the yellow on the Supra outside of a convention center, and it really fits the car to a T. Now, the great news, there's good news and there's bad news. The great news is that if you get one of these Supra 2.0s, they almost look 100% identical to the Supra 3.0, but at a lower price point. So that is a good thing and a bad thing. I think it's a little bit of a misstep by Toyota, because if I'm spending more of my hard-earned money to get the Supra 3.0, I really want to stand out and not be confusing people on 3.0 or 2.0. But let's see what you're getting. You're still going to get that same great LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, and turn signals. I personally like the shape of the headlight design. I think it would have been kind of cool if they would have stopped it right there, and I think you would see more of a connection with the Mark IV Supra. But overall, I really do like the overall style. Now, you are gonna get the same fake vents. So let's go ahead and just drop about 10 zonks. 10 zonks sprayed all over the car, because you do get the same fake vents. Up front, on the sides, it would have been nice to have some functionality. And then as you work your way down, top half is fake, bottom half is functional. But what I do love is you're gonna get that same great front splitter that is integrated into the front fascia. You can see how it curves up and almost creates a canard on the side to give more downforce. And I think that is really where the Toyota Supra comes into play, is that on a track or on your favorite twisty road, this thing is gonna handle like nothing but the business. Now, as we come across the center section, this is where you're gonna see probably the closest resemblance to that concept car, the FT01, that a lot of people were putting all their eggs into that basket, thinking that that was gonna be the new Supra. So right here is where you see it the most on the nose. You have a nice curve here. I do like the large opening in the center, and the way that front splitter extends out, and the flat black with the yellow just gives it a whole killer bee vibe that I'm really liking. Now, when you compare this to the Subaru BRZ, proportions are gonna be pretty close. What's great about the upcoming BRZ, all the vents up front are fully functional. So that's definitely a check mark in the win section for that Subaru BRZ. But on this Supra, I think the design is growing on a lot of people. I think it really gives it a unique identity. Now, when you get up onto that hood, you'll notice that it meets nicely with the front fascia. You're gonna notice the fit and finish on this Supra are really second to none. They did a great job on fit and finish. Really simple on the design. So where that curve comes up from the nose, goes into the hood, and then it kind of boomerangs. There's 2 boomerangs that curve off to the edge of the hood. Now, obviously, part of that boomerang action is you're getting a fake vent smack dab in the face, but aesthetically, it looks sexy. When we come around the bend, let's talk about some differences between the 2.0 and the 3.0. Here's your numero uno. This is the biggest way to tell the difference. You're gonna get an 18-inch wheel instead of a 19-inch wheel on the 2.0. Now, the good news is, I like the machined aluminum. I like the gunmetal gray metallic finish, split spoke design, so it's a good looking wheel, but that is something that separates it. You get a 19-inch wheel on the Supra 3.0. Now, they are wrapped in those great Michelin Super Sport tires. What that means is you're gonna get some stick, but you're also gonna get some nice drivability where they're not gonna wear out in 4,000 miles. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size up front? 255 on the width, and you have a 40 series sidewall. And that's what's interesting, is that you actually have a little bit fatter sidewall than the Supra 3.0, and I kind of like the look of it. It really has its own particular look at each wheel well. Another way to tell that this is not a Supra 3.0 is you're gonna get standard sliding calipers instead of the Brembo calipers. So no fancy bright red calipers. You are gonna get 13-inch rotors, which are great, fully ventilated, of course, but that is probably the two biggest ways right there from the side of the vehicle to tell the difference. Now, with that same sexy hood, I love the way it closes with the side fender. Super smooth. You're gonna get that side sill extension in flat black that extends all the way back. Of course, you are gonna get the fake vent in the door, but like I was saying, it does look really good and it gives a lot of different depth and element of design. Just like the bigger brother, you're gonna get the gloss black on the mirror caps, your turn signals, LED built in. I do love the way they black out the A-pillar, gives it a nice, sleek look. Even the way they do the roof, just, it really fits the car. You got that double bubble design. So what that means is you have a little bit of a rise. And what's surprising, even though with the shorter windows, there's actually a ton of room inside. Even to get a helmet on to do your track day, do your autocross event, and you're not gonna be rubbing the inside of that headliner. Now, as we work our way back, I love the quarter window. And then my favorite part, I got two favorites, but my favorite is gonna be the sexy rear fender. The way it extends off the back of the vehicle, wonderful curve. I've washed this car already. I enjoy washing this car. There's something very pleasing about taking a nice spongy mitt, all soaped up, and just wiping the rear end of this car. Really, really love the design. Look at that rear pillar, the way it flows in nicely. And then when we look at wheel and tire out back, you're gonna get a little bit more meat where the rubber meets the road. So it's 275 on the width. It is rear wheel drive, just like the bigger brother. It does not have an electronic limited slip diff. So that is one thing to talk about when we're looking at performance and also cost savings. Now, when you get to the back, you're still gonna get that same, this is my second part. So this is numero uno, those sexy rear fenders. I love the duckbill, just kick up spoiler at the back of the hatch, the way they did the rear glass. Look at how they extended the taillights. Beautiful LED lighting in there. And the way that you just have a nice wide flared fender look. Of course, you are gonna get a fake vent in there that they kind of threw in there, but I'm gonna try to gloss over that as fast as I can. Supra badge, love the script. I'm so glad the name is back personally. And they did one hell of a job on this rear diffuser. This looks like it's taken right off of Toyota's Le Mans winning prototype hybrid racer. And it's just so massive in size. It is functional. You have the Formula One style fog lighting down here with your white LEDs. That's your reverse brake light and backup light. And one thing to also tell you from the back is you could tell that this is a 2.0. The way you do it, look at the exhaust. You do get your dual exhaust. One exhaust on each opening. It's a smaller opening diameter-wise, and these are stainless steel tips and not those beautiful brushed aluminum tips. So that's another differentiator between 3.0 and 2.0. And then if you ever wonder, what the heck is GR? Does that mean like good racing or go ready or get ready? No. GR is the motorsports branch of Toyota that handles all their international sports car racing and motorsports. So that's what you get in this car. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see that new 2.0 for 2021. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hydraulic hood struts. You'll notice that clam style hood, the whole hood raises, fenders and all. Underneath the hood, this is all new for 2021. That is the 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Now, what's interesting, the way that they shaped this engine cover, which first of all, I like the engine cover. I like the red that they brought in, the Toyota emblem. It actually makes it look like a larger engine. the engine, and I'll have Lloyd kind of swing around and show you on that side how the cover kind of extends past where the engine actually is. But what you're looking at is 2 liters, like I said, inline-4 turbocharged power, 255 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to that ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. Performance-wise, 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds. Quarter mile is going to go by at 13.1 at 105 miles an hour. You have a top speed of 155 miles an hour. And guess what? MPGs, you're going to be a real winner. 25 in the city, 32 on the highway, and the car weighs 3,181 pounds. So this is that other talking point. We're comparing this to the BRZ. The thing that a lot of people were waiting for with that BRZ that we're not getting for 2022 is a turbocharged engine. Well, guess what? Here's your inline-4 turbocharged engine that you've been wanting. Second of all, the power. So you're looking around 228 horsepower from the BRZ. This has that 255 horsepower, which I think really is the sweet spot for a car this size. The one thing the BRZ definitely has over this is a little bit less weight. So could you imagine 255 horsepower in the 2022 BRZ? That would sound pretty crazy. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up what we have here and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2021 Supra 2.0. I know you're at that point. You're like, Joe, you must be reading my mind. I've been watching your virtual unveil of the BRZ, the 2022 BRZ. I've been looking all over the interwebs and using the Google to try to find out if I want to get that car, but I wasn't fully aware about this Supra 2.0. How much is it, though? Because I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. How much is this Supra 2.0? MSRP for the way that this one is optioned, you're looking at $48,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I do like the cleanliness of the door panels. Simple design, soft touch material. We have the optional 12-speaker JBL sound system. You can see the tweeter in the door, and then as you work your way down, that nice aluminum speaker grill cover. You do have a small pocket, maybe 2 Twinkies, and that's about it. We're gonna test that when we get to the business end. And you do have a nice soft armrest with that white contrast stitching, and then a little bit of a metallic gloss finish. It reminds me of GM's Carbon Flash Metallic. I do like that nice bright silver door handle to open the door with. Gives it just a little bit extra touch of color there, different material. Now, as you get to the dash, soft touch material, the stitch work, I do love the way they worked the trim in here, the way the silver just flows from one AC vent to the others. You do have soft touch material. All Supras, whether you go 2.0 or 3.0 for 2021, are going to get 8.8 inches of visual pleasure. Navigation, this one has optional wireless Apple CarPlay, which is great. Touchscreen, it is that floating infotainment system style, almost like an iPad style, how they have it hooked up, but easy to navigate through. You could go into all your different features very simply, and then obviously we have our backup camera. Now my zonk is, I don't like the size of that backup camera screen. It's a little bit on the small side, but you are getting that sensory protection where you're in those tighter parking lots. Maybe you're going to a Cars and Coffee event and everybody's parking kind of cuckoo. This will help you not, scratch up or dent up your beautiful yellow Supra. We go back into park, and then if you want to go back home, you can go back to home. Real nice, easy with the swipe features. You work your way down, you have a bright silver start-stop button for your engine start and stopping. And then you have your slim and trim radio controls, very BMW-esque. I'm not going to try to fool you and say this looks like a Toyota, sound system and interior setup. Very BMW-esque, but it looks good. Super, super slim. You are going to get dual climate control, which is great. No heated seats and no ventilated seats, but I can understand that at this price point. There's more of that almost like carbon flash metallic. You do have a USB, a 12 volt, and a nice little storage area. Now, most people will want to put their phones, but that wouldn't be much fun. You could actually easily, let me see, let me get another one here. 2 Twinkies easily will fit comfortably there. You may not want to go any more because then they're going to slide all over the place. I am loving the carbon fiber though. This really elevates the whole feel of the interior. Soft touch material. You do have that BMW iDrive controller knob. Go figure, since this is a joint effort with BMW. You also have that very similar, actually totally similar, shifter for the 8-speed automatic, the ZF 8-speed. And remember, that's where the BRZ definitely wins in the transmission category, because you'll have the option of a 6-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. You have your sport button. I like the way there's just 2 modes, sport and regular. And you just hit that sport button easily. You have all your electronic e-brake and all the other buttons easy to get to. The carbon fiber. You do have 2 cup holders. It's interesting that there's no lid though, so that's kind of weird, but you get over it real quick. You do get your Toyota key fob, a little bit of red because red means race. And we got our buttons on this side there. And then you don't have any center console. You actually have a little tiny cubby here. And if you're wondering, well, how many Twinkies can we put in it? Yeah, that's how that works. So you're gonna get Twinkies behind the seat. So be careful on putting your Twinkies in this last little cubby there, just so you don't lose any or squirt cream over this beautiful interior. And speaking of beautiful, I'm loving the seats. The leather, nice and soft. Look at the way they do this brushed aluminum look up here. Alcantara microfiber suede down the center. Look how you can see red through there. Love the style, the quality. The stitch work is great. It is manual seat control, but you do have, on the driver's side, electric bolstering and that lower lumbar. Speaking of the driver's side, I got plenty of headroom in here because we got that double bubble roof design. It is interesting how it curves down a little bit, but you do get used to it. It feels like a nice little cocoon where visibility is actually really good and you can hit your marks. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel of the Supra 2.0. All right, guys, business time. Don't let this roof line confuse you. It may look like I'm lacking headroom. I'm not. There's plenty. Another area where there's plenty of room is the foot box. So you get a nice large dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. No fancy brushed aluminum, but that's expected at this price point. You do have your power on your lower lumbar and also on the bolstering. And then I'm also digging that Toyota Supra sill plate here. Nice aluminum finish. When it comes to the seats, they hold you in great without squeeze playing you. Steering wheel, it's not sexy. It's not sexy. It looks like a steering wheel off a bumper car because this round horn button reminds me of the round rubber bumper on a bumper car when you're at the fair or something like that. But I do like the size of it. Good 10 and 2 notches. You do have those BMW style paddles, which are on the smaller side and they're plastic. So that is gonna be a zonk. I wish they would do something with that. You do have a tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And the great news is you get a beautiful digital display. So right now you can see how it's set up. Simple with a gear indicator in the center, your speed, and then you have your tachometer, and you could go into sport mode, and you'll notice when you go into sport mode, it actually kind of raises the RPMs there. Red line's right about 6,800 RPM, so not as high revving as a Subaru BRZ, but overall, I'm very, very impressed with how they've done the interior and really give it a nice quality. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the cargo area because I am dying. I'm jonesing to do some on throttle. Let's go check out the cargo though. All right guys, one of the best things about this vehicle is that you actually do have some usable storage space, and it's technically a hatchback if you really want to think about it. So you pop the rear hatch area, you lift it up, and you'll notice you're going to get 10 cubic feet of usable space. Now the opening near the rear is a little tight, but obviously it opens wider as you move towards the backs of the seats. You can see the speaker grill covers, and what's interesting is that those speaker grill covers there actually kind of look like the wheels on the vehicle, which is kind of cool. And then the other part I want to kind of point out is I'm going to drop down this security shade so nobody's peeping and creeping in your Supra. And then you can see the massive strut tower brace that they put at the back end of the vehicle, just like the Supra 3.0, to stiffen up the rear, because remember, at the end of the day, they're trying to balance out that chassis flex. But if you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Let's take our Supra 2.0 for a little spin. All right, guys, we're in the 2021 Toyota Supra 2.0. We're at some twisty bits. I have it in manual shift mode, and we're gonna do some on throttle action and compare it to what that Subaru BRZ could possibly be all about. But on throttle, here we go. Yeah. Nice balanced chassis. I'm getting some pops from the exhaust out back. Feels good, connected. Oh yeah. All right, so let's first of all compare this to the Supra 3.0. Definitely not as quick revving. It is much slower to go through the power band. You are waiting a little bit at the start for that boost to kick in, obviously, but chassis tuning is spot on the money. Very, very quick steering, very solid overall feel with how the front of the car communicates with the back of the car. And to be honest with you, with the shifting action, very, very smooth. Didn't really hesitate, didn't upset the chassis whatsoever. Now, compared to, say, the BRZ that my wife drives, that one feels a little bit more go-kart-esque, where you just feel like you can't do any wrong through those twisty bits. Not as much power though, and I think that's where I'm really liking the engine in this Supra compared to a BRZ. Obviously the new BRZ will have 228 horsepower, which is still lacking compared to this. Visibility out the front is phenomenal. I love the way they have the two rises on the fenders. Gives you perfect pinpoints to hit that apex and just holds a line really nicely, which is important. All right, guys, here we go once again. Second gear, on throttle. Yeah, squared off that corner a little bit. Woohoo! Yeah! So you really could carry the speed if you're getting your line down. Carrying the speed is phenomenal. The seats, I love the way that they have electric adjustment of the bolstering and some lower lumbar. Getting to the infotainment system is very simple in here, short reach, and everything is very, very tight. There's no rattles or any kind of flex. It feels really, really good, and I love that. All right, guys, here we go. On throttle. Yeah, feels good. Nice shifts through that 8-speed. I'm telling you, you don't have to have 1,000 horsepower to have a good time. You really don't. This car is so balanced and so well engineered that it obviously the smile doesn't lie. The proof is in the eating of the pudding in this thing. It's like banana pudding because it's yellow, but or Twinkie pudding, but definitely puts a smile so wide on your face, it's ridiculous. All right, guys, here we go. One last time on throttle. Front end grip is phenomenal. Here we go.
I'm telling you, the downshifts smooth, doesn't upset the chassis, felt really good. You know, why wait for the BRZ? If you're not even thinking about a manual, this thing really does do the business. But we need to keep doing the business here on Ready's Rides. I need to get back to our special location and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second.
All right, guys, it's been another great day with this Toyota Supra. I definitely want to thank Zach and the whole crew over at Toyota USA for giving us another crack at this Supra 2.0. I don't know, it's a tough decision. If you're holding out for the Subaru BRZ, I get where you're coming from. You're probably waiting for that 6-speed manual, and that's one thing that this car is really desperately missing. But you know what? Why wait if you aren't waiting for that manual? Because guess what? Fit and finish, the style, the Supra name, and 255 horsepower connected to that ZF 8-speed automatic really puts a lot of grins, a lot of smiles per mile when it comes to this Supra. But if you want to keep seeing vehicles like these, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ready's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Ready's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's holding it down like the champ that she is out here in this massive wide parking lot. So definitely show Lori some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.